Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome to another TC2000 tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to design and code your own technical indicators in this program. So, the most important thing when designing a technical indicator is to have that idea of something that you think may work. So, today what we're going to be doing is coding an indicator that identifies when a stock has breached either below or above the 15-2 Bollinger Bands. And I'm picking this as an example because, as you can see from this chart, and if you pick up any chart, the pattern repeats itself, that when this happens, when it breaches below, the stock is likely to push up, and when it breaches above, the stock is likely to go sideways or drop off. So now that we have our core idea, let's get started and look at the code. So to create an indicator, what you want to do is go over to this plus sign right here, click it, go over to formulas, write indicator formula, and then you're greeted with this box. So this is going to be where you're going to enter the code to create your indicator. We're going to name this Bollinger Band Breach. And now it's time to think of the code that we're going to use to create this indicator. Even if you haven't done any coding before, I promise that you'll be able to pick it up. What you have to do is Google TC2000, PCF code syntax. You're going to click personal criteria formulas, and here you go to PCF syntax and personal criteria formula syntax table. And on this website is many different operators that you can use, as well as all the syntax we'll need to create our indicator. So since we're dealing with Bollinger Bands, we're going to do Control F and search for Bollinger Band, and we're going to need both the bottom and the top for our codes. So we're going to go over and copy this right now, go back over to our code, paste that back down, and also grab the top. So as it says on the website, this DXZ stand for different things. So we're going to need to identify the standard deviation, period, and the offset. So for our code, this is going to be 15-2, or actually, sorry, 215, and there's going to be 0 offset. And this is the same for both the bottom and the top. Now that we have these two, let's go ahead and just start this indicator right now by finding the overall range of our Bollinger Bands. So we're gonna Control V and do a subtraction sign and get rid of this guy. And now what should happen is we have created our Bollinger Band breach, and you're gonna go over and find whatever you named it and click it, and then it should add that value down below. So as you can see, as the Bollinger Bands up here become more constricted, the Bollinger Band formula that we just created tightens up, and as they expand, this increases. So now that we have the overall range of our Bollinger Bands, now what we have to do is identify where our closing price is in relation to this range. So you're going to go over here and right click and click edit, and so now what we're going to do is basically find the percentage of where that closing price is. So we're going to type in C for the close, and we're going to subtract this from the bottom Bollinger Band, and to get that difference. And make sure to add parentheses so you can keep track of all your things. And now what we have is the close minus the bottom Bollinger Band and the entire range. So now what we have to do to find where it is in relation to that range is all we have to do is add a division operator, and now it should give the percentage of where that Bollinger Band is. So here, as you can see, it is very low on the Bollinger Band, and this is right around 0. It's at 0.03. And here, when it actually breaches above it, it is at 1.02, and here it's at 1.11. So our indicator is working just like it should. And now what is left to do is to make this just a little bit easier to read. So we're going to edit here and just multiply this entire thing by 100. So now we know exactly where our closing price is within the Bollinger Bands. Here it's at 75%, here it's at 114%, and here it's around 46%. And to make our lives easier and kind of identify when it breaches the Bollinger Band, what we're going to do is go over to our tools right here, select the horizontal line tool, click it right here, and then single click, edit, make this red, and we're going to set this at 100. So now this is when it is at 100% of the Bollinger Band range. And we're going to do the same thing and click here and make another one that is at 0, and make this red again, and also one more edit which is at -5. And I made this -5 one just because it shows when it's severely below where the statistics show the stock should be. And now that we have this indicator down below, we're gonna alter it a little bit so that we can actually have a dot indicator on the main graph that identifies possible entry points due to a bounce off the lower Bollinger Band. So what we're gonna do right now is actually edit this and copy this code right now, and we're gonna make another different indicator to use on this main plot. We're going to right click on KL Daily, add plot here, go over to formulas, right indicator formula, copy and paste the code that we just did, and name it Bollinger Band Breach dot. Now what we're going to do is search for what we just created. So Bollinger Band Breach dot, and we're going to scale it by itself. So now what we're plotting right here is basically the percentage of where the closing price is to the Bollinger Band range. So that's not quite what we want for this dot entry point. We only really want to be turned on when it breaches this bottom bar. So let's go over and edit the formula we just created and set that straight. So we're going to make an inline if statement, so IIF, and we're going to end parentheses, and we're going to do a comma, and we're going to turn it on 1 if it is true and off 0 if it is not true. So now we have to make sure that this is a condition. To make this cleaner, we're just going to make this. So basically now we have to determine the value of when we want to turn this indicator on. So we're going to go say if this value, the percentage of where the closing is to relation to the Bollinger Bands, is less than 25%, we want to turn this on. So there we go. Now we've got something going now. Basically here it's activated, here it's activated, here it's activated, and also a couple times here. So that's exactly what we want, and you can definitely edit that 25% to suit your needs. But now to just make it look like dots, we're going to right click here, click edit, and change this from a line to a dot, and we're going to make them blue dots. So now you can see that it's not quite appearing on the graph just like how we want it. It's just kind of flying up there because it's either on or off. So instead of having it be 1 when it's turned on, we're going to make it be the closing price. So we're going to click here and edit, and replace this 1, which is the value when the indicator is activated, and we're going to change this to C, which stands for the close of the stock. It's still not quite right, so we're going to click edit, scaling, and we're going to scale it with KL. There we go. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And you can even alter that, make it the high, make it the low, whatever suits your fancy and what you like to see on the graph. So now you can see that these are possible entry points into the stock, especially if it's been in a consolidation period. You can see that right here are a couple entries that signify that the stock could be bouncing off of the Bollinger Band. So that's it for the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this or learned something, make sure to hit that like button down below. And also, if you enjoy this content and want to see more, then click that subscribe button as well. Thanks so much for watching, and see you guys in future videos.